Okay, well, we're just beginning now, and I'm going to ask one of the members to just tell us in what has changed, what are they planning to change in the old town hall? I don't know who your spokesperson is, maybe.
Sure. Well, we have a set of plans, a little presentation that Josiah is going to do. It'll cover that as well as some other stuff. I thought we'd do that, let you look at the renderings and the plans, and then you know, there'll be some questions, I'm sure, after that, and we can hit on those if that works.
Sure.
All right, Josiah, when you're ready, I think you need a screen share, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for meeting with us. Can you see my screen here?
I can.
Yep. Okay, you recognize the original. Oh, I should. Has everyone met Sam Wakeman, who's a very important member of our group, who's on the Capital Budget Committee, and Tucker Meehan, who is equally important member of our group and responsible for the social media stuff. So the agenda is well, Tucker will start talking about our goals, and then I'll take you through the plans and the rough intent, which is right now the end of schematic design. So following schematic design is design development and construction documents, and then bidding and construction. So we're really at the first stage of the project. So we know the general idea, the massing, the intent of where things go. What I can't officially answer are questions like what material is such and such. I can guess. I can tell you what we're thinking, but without the full, resolution of the costs and further development, it's not final in any way. Plus, your input is very important to us too. So, why don't we start with Tucker? Has the selectmen goals for us.
Great. So when we began, as Josiah was saying, the selectmen gave us 5 pretty clear and distinct goals. And so this is kind of everything we've been doing. We've been trying to work inside of this framework. So when you get to see the proposals we have and how we've been thinking, we just thought it would be helpful for you to know what was guiding our thinking. So the first one is pretty easy, or pretty obvious, at least. It was that the town hall needs to be safe, it needs to be functional, it needs to be flexible, and it needs to be accessible. So obviously safety needs to mean everyone who works there and goes there is going to be safe. We're not going to have any structural issues or dangerous anything. Everything needs to be up to code. But also they were very much stressing the point that we don't know how the future is going to change, especially with look what's happened with the coronavirus, whatever. The spaces we construct inside of this, we want to be able to be as repurposable as possible, so that as the needs of the town and the demands on the building change, hopefully we can continue to work with the existing, with what we will have after this. So the existing building and our proposed addition. Our next one was that the town hall needs to remain at 41 Highland Avenue. So it needs to stay on that location. And our third one, which they work together, is that the town has a very strong value placed on the historic structure from 1857. So that whatever we were going to build and whatever we were going to propose to at town meeting needs to involve a restoration and reuse of that original structure as we move forward. And we specifically too, we have to reuse the auditorium and stage space on the inside. So everything we've been considering has been taking that into account. The next one is they told us that we need to make sure that in the restoration of all of this stuff, we need to make sure we interact with as many committees, groups, whatever that's involved in town as possible to get their feedback on what this space downstairs especially could be used for. So we've spoken to the Rescue Skippers, the Cohasset Dramatical Society. We're speaking to you today. We're speaking to the Historical Society. I know, not to be confused with you guys. Yeah. We're speaking to them later this week. We've spoken to the town, the Cohasset Common Historic Commission. So we've had as many people so far as we can, and we're looking to get more people involved on the inside. But that was one of the things that we wanted to be really important is that we took a lot of community feedback into what we could use the space for, so that when it's done, no one can be like, I don't like it. It's like, oh, well, come on, this is what we agreed upon. So that's kind of where we're going with that. And then the last one is that it needs to be, the budget needs to be consistent with the 10-year capital plan of the town, so that it has a net neutral tax impact on the taxpayer as we move forward. So that's kind of how we've framed our project. We've been meeting with as many people as we can and getting as much feedback on what does the program of this building need to be, both in the original structure and in the annex, whatever that's going to look like, to make this successful, not only for the municipal employees, for the people who are trying to, get things done and build things in town, but also for citizens to come in and enjoy the civic spaces, to come in and vote and to use the town hall, because ultimately it belongs to the taxpayers. So that's kind of how we've framed our project.
Well, that's, yeah.
Go ahead.
Maybe we should just focus then on the old town hall right now. Noel, I know that you had an interest in the old lockup downstairs in the basement of the old town hall.
It is funny that I connect with criminals, but when I was inspecting and researching and going through town hall last week, I did come across the old jail cell.
Yep.
In the basement. And I had back in the 80s tried to buy the Independence building from the town, which was what I thought was the town's first police station. But based on what I saw last week, it is not. Or at least it wasn't even the first holding cell. Because I'm assuming that the jail cell in town hall predated the Independence building.
That's right. It was the first lockup.
Yeah. So and I'm sure it's not, I'm sure it's in the way. It's certainly not being viewed by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem. I assume it has some historic value. It's a very bleak thing to see with the iron gate door and the iron slats for the cot. I don't know that there's anything else part of that cell that is of any value. But those two items clearly are movable, and just like the jail cells over at the Independence building, someday they're going to move. Where those iron gates went from the Independence building, who knows? Whether they were worth preserving, that's for others to say. Perhaps we all have different opinions. But I'm sure the space has more value than taking up space as what used to be a holding cell, because it's really not very used today.
Well,
So,
I would say I certainly would hope that the building committee would preserve those cells. I think they're sort of an extraordinary relic of the past. They were used to house tramps when they would come and stay in Cohasset. They were kind of they were probably used for criminals to hold them for a while, but they were used a lot in the time when hobos used to come to Cohasset, and the town would be under a moral obligation to take care of them, so they would let them sleep in the old the lockup. And I would hate to see them go. I hope that the building committee plans to preserve them as is, just as something, a historical feature worth keeping.
well, I guess my thinking was that I do agree that they have historical value, but not there. I have no problem removed from the basement of town hall if they were to go to someplace like the Historical Society building, where they'd be viewed. And
Well, maybe we should ask the building committee what their plans are regarding those jail cells.
Well, we're actually doing very little work in the basement,
Okay.
in the existing basement, just because it's a lot of things, including the height, and to really make it a code compliant basement, we'd have to excavate, which would undermine the foundations. So the amount of, honestly, I don't know where the jail cells are. So let me go through we'll get to the plans and we'll see if.
Well,
if
I did see two small rooms that said cell. So I imagine those are the jail cells in your
One.
in the basement floor plan.
Okay. Why don't we
Yeah,
just go through it?
yeah, no, I'll just quickly mention that we're really doing nothing down there
Okay.
in the basement, except we have to shore up some of the columns made of brick. They just need to be, they need some pointing on them and stuff like that, and mainly just cleaning up. And we hope to do a lot of rewiring, so the ceiling would come down, but then it would be replaced. But we're not really removing any of the structures. And
Okay.
that whole corner up there where the cell is, and the
Yeah.
other corner up front where the vault is, we don't have any plans of changing that at all.
I inquired then about another item that I'm personally interested in, and that's the auditorium, what the plans are.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Let me-
Josiah
can I
will go
just-
through those.
Can I just give you an overview of the project?
Sure.
That's probably the best way. So I just have a couple of historic photos, which I find pretty interesting because they've certainly changed. For example, the vault windows that are marching along here marched around the front, and this whole front piece is smaller than it is now. It was expanded, and I assume that these columns, these corner columns, became piers on the facade. And then there's this sort of interesting arts and crafts entry or something like that. And here you see that. So right now the gable comes all the way to the front piece, and the front piece is wide by a couple of more feet on either side. And also there's really no front lawn at all. So anyway, okay, so this is the basement here.
Yeah.
The left, what's in white is unchanged. What's gray is the new building. So here you see the original. You can see my mouse. So this is the original building, of course.
Yeah.
And the only thing we're doing is here, back in here,
Okay.
as an egress and a couple of modifications in here. This is a full basement that's actually lower than the basement of the town hall, the original building.
No, this is the annex, correct?
Yeah, the
Okay.
annex is from this line right. So
So
in
are
fact, go
are
ahead.
you changing anything in the basement and in the annex?
The
What
basement-
will be different?
In the annex,
Mhm.
the annex is all new. It's all new foundations, new excavation.
So are you putting in a new vault also?
We're keeping the vault. I believe that's where it is now.
Okay.
I don't know. Does anyone else remember exactly
Yeah,
that?
I'm the archivist and
Yeah,
Yeah,
I manage that vault
yeah.
and
We've all,
the basement vault.
Which is here.
Yeah, that's
So an
right.
extra thick and
So that won't be changed. It won't be enlarged or anything like that.
I think the plan is to replace that at this point. So does that connect with the vault upstairs as well?
It doesn't
Okay.
connect, well, I think it's below it, but there's no,
Okay,
interaction between the two of them.
yeah.
I think they actually are structurally stacked on top of each other. I think those
Yeah.
are probably reinforced.
Yeah.
Because they
Right.
are
yeah.
on top of each other physically.
So where everything's getting new in the annex, the old one will be removed and the new one will be replaced in place of it.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're right. This is gray, so that means it's new.
Oh,
So basically, everything here
okay.
is new.
Okay, now, the Historical Commission manages a large number of town history books, which we sell to the Historical Society and to Buttonwood. And they need to be kept in a safe place. It's now in a very large closet that's lockable. And so we need to have a space for those books that we can lock up. Is there anything down here that will accommodate that?
Oh, I think so. We talked about an archival space in the basement.
Okay, it's not exactly an archive. It's really like a storage area for for books that are sort of sold at, to retail outlets like the Buttonwood and the Historical Society.
Well, that's a really good point. Can you give us an idea of like square footage or space needed for something like that?
Yeah, I'd have to show it to you. I really can't.
Okay,
I'd say it's not quite as big as the current vault.
okay,
And what's happened now is that the town nurse stores some of her materials there that can't be open to the public, like syringes and things like that, but they don't belong with the history books.
I see.
So I suppose you'll talk to her too, but she needs a place where she has to store things that shouldn't be available to the public.
Mhm.
When would be a good time for us to come see?
Anytime you want, just let me know and I'll take you down.
Okay.
Phil, should we go out with a department-wide communication asking them what kind of special lockup storage they need? Because this is the first time it's come up, to my knowledge.
Wow.
Well, I think this is new for us to know what cultural books are stored. I think we've covered the upstairs as far as treasurer collector and important files in their safe and vault upstairs. So this is new to us, this particular one, and it's important that we make the space for it.
Yeah, it is important because these are town property. Money from the sale of these books goes to the town, so it is a town function. So I'd be happy to show you.
Yeah, I'll contact you offline and come down and we can look at it.
Thank
Okay.
you, Tucker.
Mhm.
Great. And then just a selfish little thing, as I'm the archivist, I would love, I don't have a real desk. I found an old metal typing table somewhere in the basement and I pulled that in. But I really should, it's disgraceful for the archivist not to have a place to sit and a place to have people will come in and ask me to look at some of the documents there, and I have no place to really let them sit. We have to find another room somewhere. So if you could also, I'd be perfectly happy to share an office space with someone else because I'm not there all the time. But I just need a space, a desk and 2 chairs. That's somewhere.
How often are you there?
Well, it depends. Of course, I haven't been there much this year because of the pandemic, but a couple of times a month.
A couple of times a month?
Yeah, I wouldn't need a lot of space at all. I could share an office with somebody, but I should have a place where someone can come and talk to me.
So you do that for visitors. So you're always with someone.
Well, I do it for people. For example, someone on the Central Cemetery Committee will want to come and look at the old plans for the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to be able to sit down with them, pull out the documents, spread them out a little bit on a desktop and show them what we've got.
Jackie, does this need to be lockable?
Yes.
No, see, not my desk. No,
Okay.
because it's just a utilitarian thing. It's anything that needs to be locked up will be in the vault, which is lockable, of course.
I apologize, I gotta leave, but you're in very good hands here.
Okay, well, thank you, Phil.
All right,
Okay,
see you.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, you want to go to the next floor or any other issues?
Okay,
You
well,
can-
how about just Susie?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't see anybody. I had a question for Tucker. He mentioned the original building, the mid-19th century one. I don't quite understand the reference to that when the building was changed in the 1920s. Tucker, are you there?
I am here.
Maybe I misunderstood you.
Yeah, I'm not fully understanding your question.
I thought
Sorry.
you referenced the original building and restoring it back to
oh, no.
the way it was originally. Is that correct?
I think the intent is the building as it is now is not changing too much. But if we're talking about the additions that happened and the things out front, we wouldn't change that.
Okay. Now, here's a question as an aside. Have you looked at the plans that were done in 1928, I believe, which are down at Town Hall? And that was when the auditorium was moved from upstairs to downstairs.
I haven't.
Okay, anyhow, they are there, and they were given, well, maybe a half a dozen years ago. But there were all the plans that were done in the 20s. I know there were some changes made, and it might be valuable to take a look at those.
Yeah, I think the architects have. I'll verify that.
Okay. So, are there any, Megan, do you have any questions? This is Megan Elder. Megan? Is that, oh, Julia?
I know. I kind of came at the end, so
Okay.
I'll just.
Okay. And Mark? Mark, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions right
Okay.
now. I'm just kind of trying to take this all in and then see if I have any questions.
Okay. Well, if you do, speak up.
Totally.
Before, are we going to stay with the old town hall for a while, or because I have one more sort of a question on the old town hall, and that has to do with the one of the windows on the what I think is the south side of the present building. Right now, you have sort of arched windows, right? That have glass on the top, like a fan light on top of those windows. And I noticed that in the new plan, you filled in the top arch of the leftmost window. And I wondered, why are you doing that? Because all the other windows on that facade are glass, and they're glass now. Why would you change that?
I don't think the intent is to change that.
Okay. Because the rendering shows that and on the other side, there's some of the windows are filled in, but if you don't need to fill it in, why bother? It looks
well, yeah,
nice.
I think that's the general attitude. Why
Okay.
make changes?
Right. Okay. And it's consistent with the other windows, so I would leave it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to follow through on that, Jackie, because I think I hear what you're saying. The entranceway to the auditorium on the second floor above from the outside has 3 windows. The middle one is it Palladium style? Is that called Palladium?
Yeah, Palladium.
Yeah.
But in the new plan, that's gone. Is that correct?
Well, no, actually, I think they've kept them, but they've sort of removed the glass from the arched part of the Palladium, one of the windows, and just filled it in with wood or something. And I don't, I think it should be retained the way it is.
Yeah, I really think.
Josiah, can we look at that?
Yeah, can we have that up?
Yeah. A 3D image.
It's the other side, the other side of the building. It's okay. Yeah, that's
Ooh.
no. Go back. So
Well, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, you could. It's hard.
There's
I
the
think,
Palladium window right there.
yeah, there, and that's you see that one behind the leaves, actually. It's that actually has a fan window on top that's arched, just like the one beside it, and the others on that side. And why would you fill that in to make it simply a rectangle?
Yeah, I don't think that's the intent.
Okay.
We'll certainly check with that, but I think the intent is to keep the existing building as is, upgrade its thermal qualities and things like that.
Okay.
But I also have to tell you about some plan tweaks that we have.
Okay.
So, but we'll
Okay,
certainly
I
make sure that that's the case. I can't imagine that they'd fill in something for the sake of filling it in.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm missing something, but I was referring to the windows above the entranceway that leads into the auditorium from the outside. Because
Okay.
Let's call that the street entrance. The second floor in the old building,
Are
that's
you talking
right.
about this?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So that's a gang of 3. But isn't the middle one now Palladium or no?
I,
Right
Right now, that's filled in.
yeah,
So that's not glass at this existing time.
Okay.
And the one on the right hand side, I know there's 2. I just want to throw in one of those is currently filled in anyway at this moment.
yeah, but the
But
one
the
that I
further
was,
one back is not yet. I see
right,
that.
and that should be left as is because it goes with the other windows on that
Mhm.
side. Okay. Does anyone from the Historical Commission have any more questions on the Old Town Hall or any comment?
The auditorium, just what's happening with the auditorium?
Let me go through the plans now. Okay, so we've talked about the basement. So a couple of things that are important for the existing building, which again is on the left and all in white, and I apologize for the quality of this print, it's terrible. First is accessible to everyone. So right now you can't get in the front door if you're in any way impaired, mobile impaired.
Mhm.
So the intent here is to come in, and I'll show you in the site plan, but you come in a gradual sloped walkway. It's not a ramp. A ramp is 1 in 12 with handrails. This is less than 1 in 20 without handrails to bring you into this. So you come into the vestibule of the existing town hall. Now this piece is new. This zone here is the required toilets and storage room for the chairs, et cetera, to make this a much more functional auditorium. So this is, let's say 20 feet of zone of things that you pass through to get to the auditorium. So that's the big change, to make it really much more functional with the intent of using the auditorium more than it is now.
Okay.
And while we're at it, the egress here from theirs goes out to the front entry of the addition. So it's very compact circulation. And then, well, I should talk about the addition. So the side entrance come into, you very quickly meet, the building department and the clerk and the treasurer, et cetera, and then can go right in here. So it's pretty compact and simple, and that's the intent. Top floor, you come upstairs to the new floor where the selectmen's meeting rooms are, et cetera. You come up some more steps into the second floor of town hall, which is the same location that it is now. It's just redone so that it holds the assessors and 143 TV, et cetera.
I noticed that you had showers and change rooms. What's the intention there?
Yes, that was requested. Insofar as the bathrooms, the amount of people you have creates the number of bathrooms that you need. Insofar as showers, where are the showers now? Basement?
I think they might have been upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
We might have talked about it and gotten rid of it. I can't actually.
There's the image that was there right before this particular one showed, yeah, there.
Yeah.
I see, now I've lost it. The changing room.
That's a janitor's closet.
Yeah, but
Looks like a shower, but it's not.
yeah, but there was something that said shower, and then there were 2 changing rooms somewhere. Is there another?
Changing rooms are required by code, baby changing rooms.
Baby changing rooms?
Yeah. I don't know where there's a shower.
I did see that.
Josiah, way back, we had a shower in there, and I think we took
Yeah.
it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was
It
discussed.
was going to require a pump to drain it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Was it in the
okay.
basement?
Okay, there, I see it here. There's a shower, and then there are 2 changing rooms, 2 changing rooms, and
Oh,
Yeah, actually, I think that's for the actors.
The
Oh,
changing rooms
oh.
are as they are now. The actors
this
use
is-
those that way,
Oh,
and
okay.
they have like a type of
Okay.
shower thing down there they use for the set changes. But I
Okay.
agree. I think we took that out.
Okay.
But the
What-
changing
remember,
rooms
what's
will
white,
remain.
it remains, is to remain. What's gray is the new. So this is
new,
all,
okay.
except for that plumbing wall, that's all
Mhm.
existing. Okay, so those are the plans. So the big issue is that added zone in here for really functional reasons.
Mhm.
So, and then you've seen these already, but, so the intent of the building of the new piece is to, reflect the scale and the roof slopes and things like that to make it a comfortable
Yeah.
partner of the historic town hall.
Now, on that, and the annex, and the facade that's facing the street there, the windows are very plain, whereas the windows of the old town hall have a little keystone in the upper part and then a sill on the lower part. Would you consider maybe lightening, it would make it a little bit more consistent with the old building and also sort of relieve the starkness a little bit.
Yeah.
If you had a similar decorative element
Yeah.
in the window.
That will be something that we will discuss for sure. And I
Okay.
think there are a lot of different opinions about that.
Mhm.
I think that the quality of the original town hall should be a little special. And because that's the original thing. And this is like a new piece that's part of this age.
Yeah.
So I'm just speaking for myself right now and for my experience as an architect who does historic work occasionally,
Mhm.
that enriches the existing by keeping the other slightly different. But I promise you, many people on the committee will have your exact opinion, which by the way will
Yeah.
be, which will, it's unusual building these days to do that. So it would probably be a cost issue.
Well, just to make it compatible, consistent, I suppose, with the old building too.
Mhm.
Jackie, you're talking about a header piece over the windows with
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
a
if
piece
you
of
look
crown molding.
Well, if you look at the windows of the old town hall, which they have the framing around the window. The top part has a keystone, a little something that goes up, and then the lower part has a sill that comes out. So it's just not quite as stark as looking as these windows.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's just
Well,
my
I think that the way the scale is broken down with the detail should be looked at in the new building.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone?
But it doesn't mean that it has to match.
No.
My opinion, but
But just
I like
like-
what you just said. I'm sorry, Jackie.
Yeah, no, I just to make it a little more graceful looking and a little less cold. Yeah. Okay.
But I like what you just said about it. The fact that one part, there's the old part and then there's the new. So it's sort of like, I don't know, comparing a word in an old dictionary and a word in a new dictionary. Like you're learning something from the old building and translating that into the new building. So you don't want an exact copy, as you just were saying.
yeah, I have to say I work with a lot of historic preservation officers and they want to make sure that the old remains unique. And it's not like Disney where you recreate something. It's compatible, but not the same. As if it were, like, we shouldn't build a building that looks like it was built in 1857. We should build a building that enhances or is a good neighbor to the building built in 1857. That's my opinion, which is not everybody's opinion. So these just go around the building and it becomes more the new building, but I'll just show it anyway.
Okay.
This is the side entrance. So on the common, it's kind of interesting that, all the houses tend to have main entrances and side entrances. And this is what town hall is trying to do too with this. I think by doing that, it doesn't take away from the main entrance to the original building.
No,
Like there are schemes before that we looked at where, you know, you have the main entrance to the original building and the main entrance to the new building next to each other, which is kind of actually what the original scheme last attempt did, which I think you can argue that this is a better thing, that the main entrance to the original building is primary.
now, when you go into this entrance to the annex, is there a sort of a shelter, like if it's raining, is the,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a slight recess, yes.
okay.
Several feet, I would say.
Okay, so if it, you know, if someone has to wait there in the rain, they will be protected.
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
yes.
okay. It actually looks like these windows have some decoration over them. The
Yeah.
long windows, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these things. You're right. I think it's, yeah. I guess they use the header of that to become, but maybe it should have an element, like you say, of sort of scaled with the other. That's a good point. I've shown you all the images. Let me just say, so there you see, you just asked about the recess. So that door is 3 feet, so it's a 3-foot recess.
Okay.
But it could be deeper, you know, that's something
Yeah.
worth discussing because
That would
we
be
certainly
nice.
have the dimension to be deeper.
Yeah, that would be nice, actually. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Susie?
Out of curiosity, are the windows operable in the
Yes.
annex? Good, thank you.
How much new square foot, if any, are we picking up with this plan?
I don't have those numbers, but the building is a little bit bigger than the existing building.
What's the primary goal, just to make a better building because the last remodel wasn't done well enough?
Well, the building's falling apart. It needs like $8 million of repair just to get it, you know, back to functional use. So this seems like a good way to do it, make it much more functional, code compliant, not falling apart, enhance the existing building.
But I also think one of the biggest things we're going for is the common is a very special space that has a very unique aesthetic. And the building that stands out currently the most on the common happens to be part of the town hall. So I think in imagining what the future would look like, we would like the annex to be town hall to enhance the aesthetic feel of the common and not be a detractor as we drive through. As that's the worst thing down here happens to be where the town government sits is a huge piece of what we've talked about too.
Yeah.
And I think just from the renderings that the annex at least does homage the original building, and it's a nice flow. And I would, to kind of go back to what Jackie was saying, the windows, I think there should be some sort of symmetry, maybe not like fully, but like between like where the old meets the new, just in like terms of the windows, like that, like a nice, totally nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
Do the doors stay to the auditorium, inside and outside doors?
I believe so, yes. They have to be accessible, which means they have to be balanced and stuff like that. But
You're talking about the exterior wooden
here?
doors, right?
Say again?
right here. Can you see my mouse?
I'm looking at
You
another.
can't see my mouse. Okay,
Hold on, I see what I have wrong here. Yeah, I can see it.
so there are two pairs of entry doors.
Right.
Which have,
I don't even know if
One thing we've tried to do with the annex, not with Old Town Hall, is to make the floor plans as flexible as possible and have as few internal structural walls as possible for future changes. Since we don't know what the world's going to look like 30, 40, 50 years from now, we'd like to be able to have the floor plan highly flexible.
Can I ask,
And by that, you mean moving walls or what, how, in what way do you mean flexible? How,
So the internal walls separating the different rooms aren't structural, aren't required to hold the
oh,
second floor up.
so
So
you
you
could,
could just take them out, move them around.
okay.
Right.
Hmm.
So if we've departments 30 years from now for things that we don't even know will exist today, we'll be able to fit them in and not have to be like, let's start with a new building.
Yeah,
We'll be
right.
on the 5th generation of Zoom, and that's it.
Tucker will still be around. None of the rest of us will be, but he'll.
Let's hope.
I
Okay.
think the plans look really good. And I can tell you folks must have put a lot of time into this already.
It's been an interesting process.
My question is, if you, I mean, but the annex is only like 20 years old, right?
No,
when-
40.
Say it again?
40, wouldn't it be around 40?
Like 40.
I think it's 40.
Just about, yeah.
40.
I thought that big portion was done just the last 20, 25 years. Big
I
renovation.
can't remember what year it was. Was it 84? I want to say. I think it was 84.
1987, I think.
Was it 87? Okay.
I think.
What do
Don't
you,
hold me to it.
you mean when it was built or what?
The annex, yeah, it was in the
I
80s.
think I can tell you just a second.
The quality of construction in the 70s and 80s were not very good. And you're seeing the implications of that now by, people tearing out some parts of the wall to repair things, sills and clapboards, et cetera.
The addition was built in 1988.
88.
88, yeah.
But it's rotting out. I have a couple of questions for the Historic Commission.
All right.
One of the big issues in the town is maintaining the buildings that we have and maintaining them properly. And there have been a lot of new materials, and I'll use this phrase, hoping you understand what I mean. But for things like corner boards and trim, plastic wood, and I don't know what the Historic Commission's position on that is. It would be extremely helpful from a longer term maintenance standpoint, not having to use wood.
Well, I think
Go ahead, Jackie.
when you restore an old building, you are supposed to restore it as closely to the original as possible, unless there's a real problem. So it would be very frowned upon to replace wood with or with plastic. But if you're doing something like the annex, that isn't as historical as the 1857 building.
One thing about
I'd like to
altering,
answer that. Jackie?
Yeah.
I think in some instances, it's preferable. I don't have as much of a purist attitude as I once had towards renovations and reconstructions of old buildings. Certainly in some cases, it makes a lot of sense energy-wise, and also from a maintenance standpoint. I assume the windows will probably be either double or triple glazed in order to get some energy efficiencies
that's correct.
there, even though it probably wouldn't be correct. I also think that it's the district commission that are the ones who would make the recommendations and not us, because they're the ones who have to approve the plans. It's in the district. That's their mandate.
One thing we have to be very careful of when you have an old building and you make changes to it. You change the dynamics of the moist interior air going to the cold outside air, and sometimes you have moisture migrating to the outside. And if you have a new insulation layer, it gets trapped, turns to ice, and, you know, rots out the nails and stuff like that. So we always have to be aware of that. And sometimes, and plastic is a natural vapor barrier. So if you put like corner boards, it might affect things. So it's just something that's really important that has to be understood before you say it's going to last longer than the wood, because it might actually rot the stuff behind it faster.
I think maybe the solution is to have a better maintenance program for the structures in the town, right?
And also make sure that the walls do breathe at least one direction.
Yeah.
Because
right.
the old walls breathe a lot,
Mhm.
which isn't good for temperature, but it's good for the longevity of the wood.
Right.
So it's just become a problem that you just have to deal with.
Josiah, I think I was more or less referring to the new edition
Oh, yeah.
rather than the old. And as long as the products used are complementary and they blend in properly, I don't have
Yeah, you're right.
an issue with that. As
So the
far
new
as the
edition
old
will have
building,
a
I
vapor
understand it
barrier.
perfectly.
New edition will have a vapor barrier and stop the transmission of moisture and keep it within the walls, you know.
Okay.
I agree with the points that Susie made. Now, having going through that right now with trying to renovate a house that was built in 1860, so we're just opening up things and finding out what we got to do. And so this is an eye-opening experience for me. But you know, if we keep it similar to the old building, then you know, I don't see what the harm would be.
Sorry.
That's a different opinion.
Well, okay. Are there any questions? Megan, are you still there? Megan Helder? Is she still there?
She just got her dog.
Oh, huh. Well, anyway,
I thought she was still here.
yeah, I thought so too. That's too bad. Well,
Yeah, I guess her phone's still here. I guess she's still having trouble trying to get on to, you know, unmute herself.
oh, okay.
Wait a minute.
Well, as long as she can
Oh,
hear.
excuse me, I just heard from her. She said she's here.
Oh, okay.
Good,
She's
okay.
permanently muted.
Okay. It's not my dog. I don't have a dog, right? Okay. Are there any other questions to ask?
The windows in the old,
What's
the
that?
windows, I ask a question. Do the windows in the old building, do all the windows now become grill-less?
The intent is to match the appearance of the existing windows with double pane. It might be that it becomes a storm window on the interior or something like that. That might be the solution, which would be cost effective and more historically true.
So just so I'm clear, you know how new windows today, they have the grill on the inside to give the appearance of a,
Yes,
you know, a 6x6 or a 12/12.
right.
Are these just going to be flat facing, you know, flat
Oh, I
windows?
hope not.
No, I hope not too. I hope you keep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think we would deserve any historic credits for that one.
yeah. Do you want to show us any more of this building or explain any more?
I think I showed you all the slides that I brought.
Okay.
Yeah. I assume we'd see you in design development with more, because you seem very specific oriented, and that will have much better answers for you then.
Okay, is that a public meeting or you could come?
No, we'd meet with you again. Design
Okay,
development will be the next couple of months.
all right.
And
Okay, if you would please contact us, we'd be very happy to meet with you again.
okay.
And I will be happy to show whoever wants to see the present storage room for the history books.
I'll email you your town email.
Oh,
Come
I
down.
Tucker,
don't,
can you bring a tape measure and measure the area?
I don't have a town email. It's,
Oh, do you have a phone number I could call you at?
yeah, it's
something?
383-9595.
All right, 9595. Perfect.
That's it.
I would just like to add something. I think the design is a great improvement over the previous offerings. I think it's very attractive.
Yeah.
And I especially like the connection between the two buildings. I guess that has been altered to have 3 windows in line rather than the ones on a slant from a previous rendering. I think it's an attractive addition. And I like
Yeah, there
the
were a lot of
access
comments on
side.
the slanted windows.
Yeah.
Yes.
The stepped windows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it does look very nice. Okay, well,
Okay, so I think I wrote down all your comments, which I will
Okay.
share with the group.
okay.
And we'll meet with you some point in design development when we have more specific answers that you might have.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank-
well, thank you for coming. It's
Thanks.
been very
Thanks for
interesting.
having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to meet everyone.
Yes, see you in a few months.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, okay.
Thanks, Josiah.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you,
Tucker.
Sam.
Bye.
Oh, but the historical commission should stay. Sam, you can stay if you want. If you
No, I'm leaving.
Hi, Sam.
Oh, well, I thought that was good. That was a nice presentation, and they were very good about listening to us. Okay, well, we should move on. We can now approve the minutes of that Megan prepared. Has everyone had a chance to read them?
Yes,
Yes.
Would someone like to move?
I move we approve the minutes of the April
12th?
meeting, April 12th, 2021 meeting of the commission.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you, Megan. Okay, Julia, do you want to give us an update on your meetings with the Master Plan Implementation Committee? Oh, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Because of the dog. I'm
Oh,
sorry
oh,
about
okay.
that. There were
Okay.
turkeys.
Okay,
No, it was another a long meeting. A lot of it concentrating on the Elm Street Corridor, which I wonder what you people feel about it. I've talked about it at length with Susie. Did any of you see the survey that Katie Dugan sent out?
well, I listened to the discussion on the Elm Street Corridor, and
Yeah.
I was very thrilled to hear somebody say that one of the current strengths of the corridor is the Fisherman's Well.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned it. I didn't mention, well, when we had our breakdown,
Yeah,
we had the, everybody giving their thoughts, and she broke us up into the little groups.
yeah,
I mentioned it because I said I wanted to make sure attention was paid to it and it didn't get destroyed in the remaking
Yeah.
of that corridor.
right. Well, I think they'll respect it.
I hope so, considering all the effort we went to put it there.
I do have one. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
I'm interested in what you guys think about that survey. It just seemed very repetitious to me.
Excuse me, Jackie, can you unmute
I
Megan?
I don't have the I don't have the ability to do that. I'm not the host. There's
Oh, okay.
a Megan
Megan is taking notes.
Megan Damiano is the host. Is Megan?
Okay.
Can
Oh,
you
there she is.
can you unmute Megan Elder, who is
I've been asking, like I keep pushing the ask to unmute button, but there isn't anything that I can do on
Okay.
my
okay? Well, Megan will at least she can hear, right? Yeah, Mark.
And
did
she
you-
is taking notes.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
The one question I did have, because I've been now that I'm close to the village, I've been out and about.
Yeah.
And I always find myself like down at the harbor.
Yeah.
And the one thing that, when I have taken a look at the renderings that they've done for the Elm Street Corridor that's, across the street from the Fisherman's Wharf, was that the one that was that giant anchor that was always like kind of like right to the right of the Kimball's
Yeah.
sign.
Right.
That doesn't seem to be anywhere. And like, it's not important, but it is kind of a nice touch that connects, I think, the people of the past of Cohasset to the water. It's specifically the message that's on it about those that have given their all, and that it is next to Memorial Park. I haven't seen that, and I don't want that to get lost, like in this development of condos on the harbor.
Julia, is that something that you can bring up?
I can certainly bring it up. Stop it. You are dead. Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, because of that. No, I like that too. And I'd forgotten about that. No, never mind. It makes me think of some other old things. But so interesting talking about the pre-grant approvals, as I talked about with Susie, that don't have to do with us necessarily, but rewriting the zoning bylaws. I asked about what's going on with the village revitalization, because here we're doing, stop it. We're doing this, we're making like Disneyland at the end of the street at the harbor, but it's not what's in the village.
Well, why do you think it's Disneyland?
I'm sorry. I'm being,
yeah.
sometimes I don't think, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
It just seems like right now there's a great potential for making a connection between the harbor area and the village. And the village is so dismal right now. And the harbor area is so sterile. And I just look at it as I just don't know what to think of all these ideas, Jackie. And I shouldn't have said Disney.
Okay, well, certainly the harbor is going to be spiffied up. It's going to look much better than it does now. The village, I was a part of that. I was the chairman of the Village Renaissance back in the 90s, I guess. And it's very hard because it's property owned by shopkeepers, and they really are in charge of it. And you can do just so much. I mean, we try to plant flowers and did things like that, but it's really up to the shopkeepers to maintain their, to put decent awnings on their windows and do all that.
But we barely have any shops. That's the thing, buy a house or, okay, are we going to become a restaurant destination?
Well,
that seems sort of strange.
There's a glaring emptiness. There's a glaring hole downtown next to French Memories in the bank. And then, there's nothing more than wanting to go, say, grab a cup of decent, not coffee, but like, say, go get a quart of milk and a sandwich. And you're either going to Atlantic Bagel that closes at noontime or 1 o'clock, depending on the day, or a Seabird or
Anchor and Sail, which has Hornster's milk for $5 a quart, which is nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Hornster's milk. It's just, as Mark was saying, we have no place in the village to just walk in and get a cup of coffee, like a 7-Eleven, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
Are we ever going to get a convenience store again?
That I don't know. And I don't know why the other didn't work. It was sort of a corporate thing when it was, it was French Memories at one time. Not French Memories, Central Market at one time.
Well, it wasn't Central Market. It was Central Market was where French Memories.
French Memories, that's right. But we did have a store there. But you're right. We need a convenience store.
Yeah, and that's been empty for what happened? 7-Eleven came in and then just does anybody
Central
know?
Market went up to 3A.
Yeah.
I think originally there were two markets there. There was a First National
No, I'm just
and one
talking about
other
right
thing.
now, you guys.
Just now.
Right now, we have
Well,
no,
that's, now
Right
that,
now, we don't have any place to get a quart of milk, a loaf of bread, or a
Yeah.
lottery.
now,
we need a convenience store. How can we do
Julia,
that?
Julia, that's something to bring up with the master plan. That is something that they should address, right? The
Yeah.
master plan committee. So
Can we return to the Elm Street corridor for a minute?
Sure. But that's a very big, I didn't know if you guys had seen the survey and responded to it. That's how
I
we
looked at
started
the
this whole
survey
thing.
and it didn't make any sense and I did not respond to it. First of all, the heading bothered me. There was an error. Visit to Elm Street and how many times you go and why you go. Are you on your way home? Are you on your way to work? And then the next part had, what would you like to see? More trees, more sidewalks, bike racks, street furniture. And my conclusion was, what do the people on Elm Street have to say about this? Also, I remember a long time ago when Elm Street was a heck of a lot narrower before the police station was built.
Well,
It was widened then, and now they're talking about making the sidewalks bigger, which will narrow the street. I don't see the point of the time being given to the Elm Street corridor. Maybe I'm alone in that, but you walk, who is going to use it? Pedestrians are going to walk from one end to the other? And if so, where are you going to park? And why would you want to do it? The harbor is not going to attract an awful lot of people from outside who would park there and then walk into town. Even if the condos do get built, I would imagine people would drive in town rather than walk, or they might take a stroll, but they certainly aren't going to walk on a regular basis. And I drove down Elm Street several times in the last week. I think it looks great. There are a lot of, I think they're flowering cherry trees. It looks terrific. And one final thing, on the south side of Elm Street, it has the potential for flooding. I don't understand the attention being given to the Elm Street corridor at this point. The part down at the harbor where the well is great. And if that section is improved, that's terrific. But the idea of a walkway or something attractive to pedestrians, I miss the point of that. I'd be curious how others feel on the Elm Street corridor.
Well, we took out the hotel. We're
Yeah.
taking out the restaurant. So all the people that may have walked in summers past, they're gone.
Right.
All those hotel visitors that used to walk around after the weddings and after they come back from the weddings and walk into the village, they're gone. And the people that are going to the harbor for harbor business, like you say, have a car. And I think, like you, Susan, I love it when the leaves drop on Elm Street and it's covered in pink, which is about to happen. It's wide because they do allow parking on that street overnight, I believe, on both sides.
I think it was widened when the police station went in.
Right, but when you have cars parking on the street on both sides, it's not as wide as it seems when there's no cars
Yep.
parked on it.
although, no, we've noticed that the parking only seems to be on one side of the street. It's rarely on the same side as the fire and police station, except when you get to the village end. Then then they park on both sides, when you're Fleming's.
Look at the size of the homes on one side versus the
Yeah,
other.
right, that's right, exactly. They have
They have no,
long driveways.
the Marshfield side of the street. They go back right to the bottom. They don't the same land behind them as the other ones.
No,
You're
the
breaking
audio
up.
isn't very good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear what you just
We
said.
can't hear your witticisms.
Yes.
But so I think Elm Street is probably not gonna do a lot of movement anyway. But things are changing on the harbor. You're aware that Tom Sullivan purchased the Mill River Marine
Right.
And I don't know, did he buy the Hugo's Or,
Yeah, Atlantica, he bought that.
all right, so there's a dramatic change on the harbor that I don't even know what the plan is.
I don't know. But,
Well, they're talking 23 condominiums.
well, yeah,
I heard up by where the mill and the lobster pound is that there was because where the condos are going in, there's no way there can be marina there. There can be one closer up towards the Border Street Bridge where the mill, that mill complex, where the boatyard is.
oh, yeah.
That's somebody told
That's a
me that.
restaurant. That's going to become a restaurant.
But the problem is there's not very much room in the harbor for more.
No.
boats. So it's gonna, people won't, well, anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well, Julia, maybe you can relay our concerns about
Yeah,
the
it's
viability of all the
Right.
plans that they have for Elm Street.
it
as
just
our
seems
people-
like it's going to have an incredible,
Yeah.
to me, a very negative impact on that whole area if they do the kind of development with the condos. But the park sounds nice, the Captain's Walk, they have other thoughts, but if they have, if they create parking spaces, then people are going to use, what about the residents too on Elm Street?
They have, well, Elm Street, you're right.
As you said, no, but it's, well, anyway, but it was interesting to see how many, also, nobody seems to know what's going on at Sasco's at the Stop and Shop Plaza.
they are advertising to pick up an application for affordable housing. And you can pick up an application. I saw it somewhere. I don't know if it was on a Facebook thing or not. And you're supposed to pick it up by the first or second week in June, which I found rather interesting. And it had the rents listed for a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom apartment. And one of the things I thought was clever, it's going to include water, which could be a pretty good deal.
Yeah, especially if we have that surcharge.
I
all
don't
the
know
time.
what's going on.
They're having retail on the first floor and then residents on the second floor.
But it was just kind of funny to be sitting in on the MPIC meeting and have them saying, does anybody know what's going on in that building? I'm like, I said, well, the blacktop seems to be slowly creeping. I'm curious to see how much they're going to block off as far as parking. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger. But anyway, so it was the grants, the pre-grant stuff that's going on, rewriting the zoning bylaws, the downtown revitalization, MBTA connectivity. They're talking about Sawyer Street to Avalon to the train station. That's, make the town more accessible.
Well, okay. Well, you
That's
might
when
relay our concerns about Elm Street when you go there. But anyway, okay.
There's an Elm Street meeting this week too.
Yeah.
I think in the next couple of days, there's a
Okay.
meeting.
I
So
just,
then when the rest of it was, she talked about the census results, and that was very interesting. The town email account, which I suppose we should address. Katie said that everyone has to have a town email account.
Do you know about that, Jackie?
yeah,
Any
I
business.
heard, well,
Yeah,
it was clear to me when I saw the people who were from the town hall building committee who were invited here. They were just members of that committee and they all had at cohassetmass.org. So I guess that's going to happen, but no one has told me, so I'm not going to.
okay, because
that.
yeah, that,
I'm just going to wait until I'm told.
yeah. We're sort of medium priority in their eyes.
Yeah,
with
right.
our interests.
Well, I was glad that the town hall building committee wants to come back, so that's great. Listen, I don't want to keep you. It's getting late.
Okay.
Maybe I would be very interested in hearing a brief update on the brochure.
Sure. We met a week ago, Megan, Julia, and I, and we have a proposed outline of the sections. We're planning a meeting again in 3 weeks, and I'll just run through the sections. Some have been drafted and some we're still working on. we'll start off with a brief history of Cohasset. That's already written in various places. I want to preface this by saying we're a bit tied at the moment because we don't have access to the library just yet, but we're getting it. So a lot of the work that
It's open now. It is.
yes,
open.
it is,
Huh.
but
Yeah.
I think only for a half hour.
Yeah. Right.
No, it's you can walk in
but-
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
there-
there's a time there's a time limit, Julia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
I
half
didn't-
hour, and it's only 5 people, and the meeting rooms are closed. Anyway,
Okay.
the next part will be what is the historical commission, outlining what we're charged with doing, the difference between the National Register versus being part of a district, the different historical groups in town, explain the state legislation that was enacted for creating historical commissions, and when ours was created. I couldn't find when ours was created. I looked. Do you know?
It's in my book. It's
I'll
in-
take a look at your book. Thank you. That's one of the references that we can use. A list of the more notable or recent projects completed: Government Island, the well, the oil house, the concerns, what we're concerned about, and this is something that I'll probably have to, that we should have consensus among the members of this group. Tear downs when old buildings might be restored, that we want to urge that and encourage reuse where it's appropriate.
Right.
The reasons for a demo delay and why it's opposed. And here's a question: do we want to have a position on restoration, rehab, reuse versus raising? And I figured we could write something without making it too controversial.
Yeah.
Do you folks all agree on that?
Oh, it's certain to repurpose an
Yeah,
old-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The next part is addressing, or at least mentioning the effects of sea level rise and how it affects historic properties, especially Government Island, how Central Cemetery has addressed it, Parker Avenue, the streams that flood down on I guess it's the north side of Parker Avenue. Fun facts. We like fun facts, and I think Jackie has lots of fun facts.
Yeah,
and
I
some
have
of them that we might include is
Yeah.
Doctor's Island is in Hull. Rum Runners Rock, that's a new one that we have that is now on charts. The Speakeasy on Forest Avenue. This has nothing to do with Cohasset, but it's amusing. It's the Norwell State Police Barracks were built with private donations to stop chicken thieves.
I just love that.
Okay, the town flagpole. Now, here's one. I don't know who else remember this. I'm going back a long way. Is there a granite marker on South Main near the Situate line separating the towns? I could not find one. I found other granite markers, but I remember from when I was little, and we're going back a long time, there was a sign there. It was a red sign, and it said the country way to Boston.
And
And it was do you remember it?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the next time I saw it, it was on Noel's house.
Noel's house. Yeah.
Not Noel Collins, but Noel Ripley's house. And I drove by yesterday and I purposely looked for it. And guess what? It's still there. It's faded, but it's on Noel Ripley's house. And I'm sure it's the very same sign. Want to include some Native American things, the old liquid weights. I don't know if they're liquid or not, but the old weights at Town Hall, the jail cell at Town Hall, Tiffany Building in New York is faced with Cohasset granite, and that Monet's, I don't know if I want to put in that Monet's Light is actually in Situate waters, but
No.
possibly.
We don't.
And the 3 members of the Tea Party came from Cohasset. The record keeping, what we have, the town reports, town archives, bibliography. I figured a short bibliography. What else we have? Oh yeah, the clock. Forgot to mention the clock. The clock will probably be at the top of our brochure, and that would be our feature. And CPC did vote to have it restored, and I think everyone will probably vote for that at town meeting. And the last thing is that I'll mention now. There are other little bits. What the heck was it? Oh yeah, what I'd like to do is to mention every neighborhood in town, going from North Cohasset to Beechwood and everything in between. So everybody in town knows that some aspect of their neighborhood or area has a nice little bit of history.
Okay.
And that's it
That sounds
for now.
good.
But I think, oh, Lily Pond, ice cutting at Lily Pond.
Yeah.
And I want to lean away from individual houses and have districts
Okay.
focus on those. And would be grateful for any tidbits or any curious things that you might know. Oh,
Well,
we want to make it fun. We want to make it
I
fun,
have
not
that.
try.
Did you see my fascinating facts from Cohasset history? Have you seen that booklet? Yeah, I have. I'll get. I thought I gave each of you
Yeah, I think you
one.
gave that.
Yeah.
I think you
I
gave that
gave
to
you one.
us.
No, we
Yeah.
were gonna include some of your stuff and then other things.
Yeah.
Because I thought the
Yeah.
people
yeah,
people
they're
going up
fun.
and down
I
Minor
do
Slate
have
was
that.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, but you might find some more stuff there, but the ones that you have are good. I like them.
And the
Oh, good.
pillion stone,
The
Susie.
pillion house.
the pillion stone in front of the police station.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people know what a pillion stone is. Do
I
you?
know. what
Yeah, I
it is.
do.
Bad people.
Does Mark?
What you
I
stand
don't-
on.
Yeah, but
I
any-
I have
anything
no
else?
idea what that is. I have to look that up. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
Google
yeah, but it's
that
true.
one.
It's something that you stand on to get on the horse because, it's hard to get
Oh,
on
okay.
the horse. And
Oh, okay.
you can put your foot in the
So, but you know
stirrup.
what I'm talking about. It's right by the
Yeah.
police station. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that's
very
good.
cool.
You've made good progress on that. And
Well, we think so.
yeah,
Once we got the framework done, I think that was the hardest part. And now we've got an idea of where to go from here. But again, our objective is to make it fun, make it something people want to read, and
right.
yet emphasize how very, very important we all are in this commission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's
We
the
rule.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
We rule.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
There actually is a marker in front of my old house on South Main Street.
What about your old house in South Main?
That's where there is a granite marker there.
There is.
that's right.
Okay.
Well,
Or-
I know that like there's a marker, there's a mile marker, like the one that's up by the train station. There was one in Situate near the apartments that were close to the Cohasset Central
Right.
Quarter,
The Lincoln.
Yes.
but they
Yes.
moved it.
No, this is it's almost the shape of a tombstone.
Really,
And-
all I know is there's
Yeah,
a
and there are
sign
two
is-
of them.
Come on, go away.
There's one in North Situate.
Away. Go away.
Yeah, it's 26 miles to Boston,
Yeah,
or
but I haven't found ours.
the one in Situate they moved that was close to the Cohasset border. They moved that
Okay.
to Gannett. They moved that to the Gannett corner for whatever
Okay.
reason.
All right. But we don't have one on the border. We just have one of those big signs on a pole
Yeah,
that talks about the original boundary line between Plymouth and Norfolk counties, I think. or something
exactly,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah, but that's, maybe I could take a picture of that because of the fact that we aren't attached to any other town in Norfolk County is kind of interesting. And then, anyway, we've got lots to work with, and
Yeah.
we just want to make it fun, and
It sounds wonderful. That's great.
I hope
thank
so.
you. Yeah. Well, so we
the
can.
next thing would have to be the photographs that we want to include
Okay.
of fun things.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, listen, we can talk about that the next time, and also the Captain's Walk, which I don't want to get into right now, but we'll talk about that in June, and our next meeting will be June 14th.
Flag Day,
Oh, yeah, is that it?
yes.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you all for coming. I thought this was very interesting, and we'll be seeing that town hall committee again, which is kind of fun. Yeah. Okay. Would someone like to move that we adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. And I'll thank you very much. And